Yeah, we're back on Mark's railway trails this afternoon, and if you just look over there, that's where we've just come from, and that used to be Clockface Station on the St Helens to Runcorn Gap, and I'll show you that's where that station is again. It is just behind the trees over there. Sadly, it's actually gone now, but you just go further on from there. There's actually a new housing estate now where the station is, and there used to be an old iron bridge crossing the station that you could walk across, and that was still there till probably the I'd say mid-70s really, but yeah, mid-70s, because I remember walking it as a kid, and it was a right rickety bridge, single bridge that you could walk across just for passengers. But when it was windy, the bridge used to move, and it was really scary if you was above it, looking down at the old railway line. And I remember doing that as a kid in Clockface. Like I say, it's long gone, Clockface Station. The station actually opened in 1850, Clockface Station, shows you how old it was. And they actually, yeah, 1850, the station was opened, and the actual station when it stopped having passengers on was 1951, so you can tell how old it is. But what we're coming looking at today is the second part of the St Helens to Runcorn Gap. I'm doing this in 3 parts as well. One from St Helens town centre that takes you all the way through the town centre up to Morrison's where the Sutton Oak sheds were. And my dad was actually based at Sutton Oak sheds, and it's only when I got reading one of his articles that he had printed in a railway magazine, I thought he only went through Sutton Oak sheds, but it turns out he's actually based at the Sutton Oak sheds at Morrison's for a few years, and I didn't know that until I read that story. I thought it was Crewe and Catty's Head and all the down that Manchester line really did, but no, he did at Sutton Oak sheds. And how uncanny that, years later I'll be at Morrison's, which is Sutton Oak sheds now. So things happen sometimes, it's strange, but hopefully I got my bearings right on this one, because it's one of these that you think you know where you're going and you could be miles out. So hopefully you get the bearings on this one. And what we're looking for, this is the part that we've just come from now. Went to Clockface, and then Clockface actually ran over to Dream to take it into Widnes to Ditton Junction, which is now the Mersey Gateway. That's no longer here. That's no longer here. So I'm doing it in 3 parts really. One from St Helens town centre, which takes you from Shaw Street Station, which is still here, all the way through the town centre, past the New Saints ground there, and past Morrison's, and it cuts off, and then it goes through Sutton. And then that leads up to Clockface, through Clockface onto Bold. A bit of pipe work here. Obviously had some flooding or something, because you see the pipe, it's piping water from somewhere, so obviously had a flood somewhere. But yeah, I think we need to be going more this way. Cut through here. Yeah. sometimes when you're trying to find these places, a lot of people use them as walkways, so a good way of trying to find where to go sometimes is just have a look for a path that's been used a lot. Here we go. And it just gives you a bearing really. I've been looking at some of the old maps for this walk today, and a lot of it's changed when you match it up to Google Earth. They haven't half changed, but you'll always find railway lines. They're always on a higher. You can see the embankment there now. If you're ever trying to find some of these lines, you'll always see a big dip. You see it there, and a bit of a cutting, and that's a classic of a railway line really. And again, it's going to be another wet one. And the rain's starting to come, but here you go. This must take us up. As you can see, that's definitely an embankment for a railway line. It's always a giveaway. Do you see how it runs? Now that ran all the way up to Clockface station before taking it through to Sutton Manor. Here we go. But just look, nature just takes over everything. There's been a bit of clearing going on here as well, you can see it, but here comes the rain again. There you go. This is definitely it. Now that'll take you where I came in. I went left instead of right. That takes you all the way up to Clockface, and that'll lead you to Clockface station, which you know no longer 8 hours in the state now. But this is where the line ran all the way from St Helens, took it past Clockface onto what's now Bold, through Bold, and then it cut through to Widnes, onto Ditton Junction. And I've done Ditton Junction on a post before, and again that station's no longer here sadly. But we'll not go that way, because what I'm looking for this afternoon is the old bridges that linked this line coming across from St Helens. And it came across from St Helens, and then it kind of did a right according to my maps, and then took it towards Dream, obviously towards Widnes. But this definitely must be en route, because again, just look at the embankments, you can just see it, and the ballast that's always a giveaway. A bit of ballast. You can see the rabbits just over there scuttling there, you see them? Might be them rabbits turning out that tunnel. Hey. But a bit of a lonely place, to be honest with you, like most of these places are. And there's probably 2 lines on this stretch, if I remember right in the records. There was 2 lines, so you can just feel the wind today. Quite windy day today as well. Look, these old fences here, you know, this. I have to look up what that's for really. You must have partitioned it off at some spell for some reason. Don't know why. But the 2 lines used to run this way. But why this fence is all along? Obviously the concrete, so it's going to be a later date. Wouldn't be from the 50s and that, I wouldn't have thought. I'll have to have a look up at that, what it is. But yeah, I did a video for a guy called Peter. He wanted to see where the oldest bridge in the world was. The bridge where a railway ran over a railway, and this is not the bridge I'm looking for today. This is the one it went to afterwards, to check it on the Runcorn Gap. So I'll send you this, Peter, and you'll be on the video. Your name's on the video, so you'll be able to come and find it. But again, it's just finding your bearings sometimes on these lines. You gotta do your homework before you come, because you know, if I was walking all this way, get to the end of it, you know, it's really cheeses you off that you know you might have walked an hour and you've gone the wrong way. So you do these walks, plan it, and, you know, and double plan it really, so you got a rough idea where you're going. But they've opened this up a lot. You can see the trees, they've all been cut, which is good, you know. And obviously must be using it for, they've used it for a bit of a walkway, I think. And that's nice to see, to be honest with you, because this could get you right into near probably the town, not far off anyway, if you crossed over and went through Sutton. This would save you a lot of time. But any relics of the old railway, they've actually all long gone. You never find anything now. But them posts intriguing me. What were they there for? You know. It's obviously dividing this part off from that part. You know. And I don't know why really. So there's not a lot to see sometimes when you do these walks until you get to where you want to get to really. And I'm gonna probably I'll go back over there onto the ballast, 'cause that's always a sign that, you know, that's where the railway went, you know. But the embankments there, you can just see which way the line went, you know. And there's probably looking at it, there's two levels of track, which there was a lot of the time. One a bit higher than the other. That's weird really, but I know there was two lines on this track. And if I remember right, yeah, when I did the first railway to run over a railway, there was two lines there. One had a higher level, and one had a lower level. So yeah, that's it. You know, it's matching. You know, it's matching to similar air really. But I'm on foot today, having a bit of a walk out this afternoon. I'm probably only about half an hour, 40 minutes walk from home, and then hit here, and then obviously do this walk. I've left the mountain bike at home today. I've got it out, the mountain bike, all serviced and ready to go, but I just wanted to have a good walk, to be honest with you. But if you're on your mountain bike, and especially these railway lines, you hit this ballast, it's going to half slow you down if it's dead thick. It really does. But yeah, them posts, I'm going to look that up. I don't know what they're here for. I think this was kind of cornered off at once, well, for some reason. I don't know why they would do that. But I'm going to look that up and find out. Well, it's good that they've left this open really, because a good cycle path really. You know, they could do a lot more to it, but you could cycle down here no problem and get right virtually into not far off town, you know. Just cut out all the roads. Ah, here we go. Well, you can't quite see it from here, so I'll shoot my camera round. This is it. Like I said, there's so many different ways you could probably come into this. But I'm going to show you just how high up we are now to where we've come. If you look here now, that is one of the bridges, and as you can see it's in better days, but you can just, if you just see how high we're up off the ground. And if you go that way, I presume that I'll take you around to where we've come. But let's have a look at this bridge. Obviously it's in better days. And I'm on my own today, so you've got to be careful, you know. But we'll have a look. Wow. There you go. Just see the big gap. Can't see any writing on it or anything. But if you look there, that's what takes you to the well, it goes more to the right. I'm going to walk this and go over and have a look. So that's the way we've followed the line down when we picked it up. But keep the camera running down here and have a look. There you go. Now looking at over there, I think there'd have been two bridges going over. You can see the pillars there for two bridges. And you see it there, you want to have just a big opening for just one bridge, so I think there was two bridges going over there, and that's why there is two lines if you look at it. Definitely, definitely. So there you go, Peter, that's the other bridge that was showing you where it is. This one now I know is not here. They've cut it off because again there's a new housing estate come over here now. But we'll just have a walk down, and again you can hear the ballast on your feet. But this is the way it would have come, the line. There's actually houses now to the left here. I've never gone this far before down this line. Some kind of warehouse there now that they've built. There you go, they always try and block these places off. This is the end of the line now. But this is where it used to run, and if you look over there on your right, some of the old railway sleepers are still there. You can just see them just tucked in the corner where they've moved everything. And see if you get a date on any of these. Sometimes you get a date on them. Can't see any on these, but no, handy to stand on to get a bit of height. So where you're looking now, this used to actually be a bridge here. If you send the camera up, you'll be able to see it. Where they put the fence across now, that's a new housing estate that they've built now. And just behind that new housing estate is the first bridge that run over a railway with two railways running over each other. It's just behind that new housing estate, and this was the second part of it. You see where the new fencing is there now at the back? That's where the line came across from town over that main road along here, and then it kind of went right, kind of veered right, and that took you up to Dream. But again, all gone now, and there's, if you look over here, it's like a warehouse, Cheshire Moldings or something is built now. And if you want to Wonder where that is. That's Reginald Road to your left. But yeah, you can't get over there now because there's no bridge to get over. They knocked it down because it was crumbling. But I'll try and get a bit of a closer up picture that you can see it. But just down there now, where the fences end, that's where the bridge ran over, and that took it through Sutton into St Helens town centre onto Shaw Street station. Well, sadly gone, but glad to find it. But again, nice to find, but some of the old big sleepers still there. Again, you don't find much of anything else really, but it's definitely they've been chopping trees and stuff down here, which is good. But yeah, that old bridge still there. It's in better days, like a lot of these places. They're just left to ruin, aren't they? But yeah, it's Sutton Oak would have obviously picked up on this line as well, so makes it more special for me when I do these walks that my dad would have come down this line on one of his trains, and I never really knew that until I read an article the other day in a book. You know, I often mentioned Sutton Oak, but he didn't really go into detail like he did with Crewe and Catty's and a lot of the other Manchester stations, so I thought he was just kind of passing through, but no, he's based there, so this again, a bit sentimental. I know my dad is probably with me walking it, so but just look at that, it's in better days. And you can actually walk, when you walk down that way, cross the road, if you cross over the road, as you hit the housing estate, turn right, you can actually get a siding to get on to see the first railway that crossed over a railway bridge, and again that's been knocked down now for a new housing estate. There's only the back end of the bridge left to see. But glad we found this bit. So there's not a lot to see up here, but that's just racked to ruin. I'm surprised that's not been fenced off or corned off. We're not very safe, especially that part there, you know. But there you go, I'm going to walk back up now, and I might actually I'm going to go down actually and have a gandy down here before I do. There you go, a bit of side wall there, which would have been, this would have been the wall up to the bridge, as you can see it there, and the old wooden fences, not like the concrete ones that we've seen up there. There we go, it gives you a better, this will give you a better shot. There you go. So there would have been two lines coming over this on the St Helens to Runcorn Gap. But you can always give away when you see the big embankments. I'm going to have a walk down here and just have a look at the other side before I cut off. And again, they put big bollards in now, and that's the reason they do that. Stop fly tippers, because fly tippers paradise these places. sometimes you'll see a date in the brickwork, and that's what I was looking for before, but I've not come across anything on this one. Well, that's definitely, there was 2 lines going over there, one at the back there, and I would say there was one here. Definitely 2, because you wouldn't have such a big opening with just 1 line at the back there, and I know there was 2 lines running across that. But yes, and telling to Runcorn Gap, little bit of history. For 1833 it opened, and 1958 was the last steam train to come down this line, steam train that is, 1958, and I think it went to Mossbank, and I've actually got a picture of that train with a plaque on highlighting that it's going to be the last train. But I think the line further down, as you get past here over to the left, they used it for freight until about 1981. There was a company called Hayes Chemical Company, and they used diesel trains on it for a while, coming off Shaw Street into Hayes Chemical Plant, and that's just behind Morrison's, which was Sutton Oak Sheds. So, well, I wanted to do this today because I've not got this on my YouTube blog. I have found this before, but I've never walked it right over there to find the other line, you know. So yeah, glad I did it today, even though it's wet and raining, as it always is. But I'm going to walk back up, again, old sleepers. I think it's probably fenced off, looking at them fences to keep people out at the time. But there it is. As I said to you, Pete, if you ever want to find it, as you get to here, it veers to the left, goes right over there, and that picks up into Sutton on the oldest railway bridge in the world, which is no longer here. But I'm going to cut off now. I'm going to hopefully find my way back, and like I say, I've got a good 40-minute walk when I get out of here home. But I'm glad I did it really today, because when I read that article, and I only found this article because I was trying to dig some stuff up regarding my dad for Harry Taylor, and I remember my dad used to write for a train magazine about his life on the railways, and he had one published, and I always remember when it got published he was dead chuffed, and he got paid for it as well. And I kind of found this by when I was clearing out my spare room, and we have boxes with different things in them, and came across this. I've been looking for it for a while, and I remember my dad giving me a copy, and he actually sent this to Chris Barnett, and Chris found it really interesting that how you started on the railways, you know. And when you're a kid and your dad tells you stories, you do listen to them, they're dead interesting, but as you get older you're too busy out with your mates and growing up, which, you know, everybody does, you know. And I remember my dad having this article published, and he was so chuffed, and he, you know, bought the magazine that it was in, and he got a cheque. I forget how much it was for now. It probably wasn't a lot of money, but probably wasn't the money, it was just that he got paid for writing it, and asked him to send some more stories. And like I say, I copied it for Harry Taylor the other day, and I'm going to post it to Harry, or pop it to his letterbox, and it just gives you what it was like on the railways starting off. And as my dad said, when he started when he was like 15, going on 16, and to join the railway at the time he had to start at the bottom as an engine cleaner, and that's what his story was based on. He's saying, before you get the glory you've got to whip the grime. And that's what he did. He was an engine cleaner for, I think it was serving his apprenticeship, maybe a couple of years, and then worked his way up onto the footplate and finished driving steam trains, which in them days it was quite a big, you know, well respected job in its day. So I'm glad I've done this today, knowing now that he'd have come down this line all them years ago. Uncanny. And when he did probably come down this line, my dad didn't live in St Helens. You know, my dad lived in Moston in Manchester. He would have thought that he'd have ended up in St Helens. Strange how things work out at times. Well, that's enough about my dad. I'm going to head back up here now and hopefully find my way out the maze at the top. I'm surprised now the trees have kept a bit of rain off us today as well. But I'm going to call this part 2 of the St Helens to Runcorn Gap. The first one coming from all the way from Shaw Street on the old line all the way to Morrison's, and cutting off at Morrison's because that's where it finished, picking it up on the oldest bridge in the world where a railway crossed the railway, cross that, and then you hit this part 2, and this will take you up to Clockface, and then from Clockface into Dream, which leads you into Widnes, which is now the Mersey Gateway. Nothing left, the motorway runs straight through. So I hope you enjoyed it. I know it might be a bit boring, you're just seeing the same things and listening to my voice rabbiting on all the time, but I do get a bit passionate about some of these walks. And like I said, especially I know my dad's been on this line, so I always feel that he's walking it with us, and I've said that many times. So, but these posts, I'm going to find out what they are and why they were there. Look back. But that's it for today on Mark's Railway Trails. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next one when we're going into Dream from Clockface, and we're going to find Bowl Bridge on Dream as well, which I have done before, but I want to get it on the blog. And again, that's got a claim to fame that one of the oldest bridges in St Helens that Hitler tried to bomb, missed it quite a few times, but it is full of shrapnel. And it was an old bridge because it's got a plaque at the side of it saying that it's tried to be bombed by Zeppelin. So it just shows you how old it is. Anyway, I'm back in the wilderness. Hopefully find my way out and go home for a brew on a wet Friday afternoon. But I think this is the way I come. Looks a bit different, but it's good to find these places. But that's where we're heading. See you soon on Mark's Railway Trails.